the one who's a Rosh Gomer is in better shape. Spiritually speaking, the one who's a Rosh Gomer is in better shape because him one day he might do tshuva and he might repair himself. He might be repaired. But the one who thinks it's Tzaddik Gomer and he thinks it's Tzaddik Gomer, and even though he does everything, but he doesn't serve God l'shmo. He doesn't serve God l'shmo really for the sake of heaven. And he doesn't try to have dveikis and really cleave unto God, he's finished. He thinks he's a tzaddik, and he thinks he's a tzaddik, he thinks everything is okay with him, he does everything right, he's finished, there's no hope for him. He's finished, there's no hope for him. So, you understand, so now we know what Misnagda wanted, right?
It's not the Russian Gomer who thinks it's a full tzaddik.
Please hold off on the questions, but in fact, the Nefesh Chaim from Chaim Volozhiner, he has a whole piece where he talks about this, where he says that Chas v'sholom, a person shouldn't think that if someone learns and davens and does everything that you're supposed to do, but he doesn't have dveikis, he doesn't really cleave unto God, he just does, follows the rules. So a person is not allowed to look down on that person, and we need to understand that someone is following the rules and he's learning, even if it's not really the shmo, he's not doing it for the sake of heaven, and it's not dveikis, motivations aren't completely pure, and he's not cleaving unto God ecstatically. Still, dveikis and all that is not likuva. Reb Chaim Volozhiner says dveikis is not likuva. Dveikis cleaving unto God. That's madrigis. That's extra credit. That's extra credit. Dveikis is not likuva. Dveikis. It doesn't mean if you don't have dveikis and you're not really cleaving unto God and doing things with a completely pure motivation, that doesn't pass on the whole thing. That doesn't mean that therefore it's all nothing. So he's obviously responding to things. He's responding to statements like this. That when we have statements like this shakes up the traditional hierarchy in a big way, because people could say that someone who is doing everything right from an external point of view, that everything he's doing is worthless, and they could say that some guy who does whatever he wants, he's really higher than him, and so on. So I'd like to point out a couple of things here. Obviously, following from what I said before, that there's a tremendous demand for interiority here, and there's a tremendous demand for a spiritual quality. It's not enough. It's not enough that you keep all the mitzvahs. It's not enough that you learn and you daven. It's not enough. It's not enough. Do you really mean it for the sake of heaven? Or are you just engaged in some narcissistic trip? It's just another way to make yourself a big shot. The guy who chases after money and women and fame, he wants to make himself a big shot. So you're making yourself a big shot with the Torah. It's just another way to make yourself a big shot. It kind of echoes certain modern critiques of religion, where religion is viewed as ultimately just a kind of perverted narcissism. It's the most sophisticated form of the will to power, because you show how powerful you are by being able to control yourself and not running after the things that everyone else runs after. But ultimately, it's just a way of making yourself into a big shot and so on. So there's a severe demand. A severe demand for quality of inner life, a severe demand for sincerity. One might say almost impossible. But that's clearly going on. That there's a focus on the psychology. What's the motivation? Is it l'shma? Is he doing it l'shma? Is he really seeking to cleave unto God? Or is he just somehow on his own trip, he gets a big bang out of it? It's a way for him to think he's great. Like my friend David Litchfield told me the other night that Chassidus say that someone who learns a Blat Gemura and the Beichel with the Blat Gemura, he learns a Blat Gemara, and he congratulates himself because of the Torah that he learned, and he feels like a great guy. Is just like someone who takes the shas and piles it up and stands up on top of the shas. Now he's big. He's on top of the shas. You're just using it for yourself. I'm sorry?
Some say that's Torah L'Shma.
Nobody says that. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. I'll speak to you later, but nobody says
You
that.
have enjoyment of learning Torah. That is
First of all, nobody says that either. Nobody says that either. I'll speak to you later. Nobody says that either. It's not from Chaim Pelosi. Okay, I'll speak to you later. I'll speak to you later.
Trying to get the Chassidim to
I don't know. I've heard that, but I'll speak to you about that later. And another thing that I find striking here is look how he goes high and he goes low. The paradoxicality of it. He goes high and he goes low. For the one who's sitting and learning and davening and doing everything right, he pushes him down and demands that he go much higher. He demands that he goes much higher. The one who's doing everything right, it's basically following the rules. He demands that he goes much higher. He presents him with terrible demands. I want higher, strive higher, climb another mountain. You climb this mountain. Is it easy, no matter what the motivation, is it easy to sit and learn and daven and be the sacrifice? Presumably it's very difficult. But the Baal Shem says, no, it's not enough. And lirik yogeya, if you don't really do it for the right reasons and you're not seeking dveikus, it's all nothing. It's not worth anything. The one who already climbed the mountain, he tells him there are more mountains to climb, many more mountains, and where you are is nothing. So in a certain way, he's going very high. He's pushing very high, and he's presenting an incredibly demanding ideal. But in another way, he's going very low, so to speak. He's embracing. He's willing to embrace within his spiritual scheme. He's willing to, within his hierarchy of values, he's willing to embrace, affirm, see significant spiritual quality in a human being that on the face of it is spiritually worthless. A human being that on the face of it is simply an evildoer. So he goes high and he goes low. It's kind of an all-embracing vision. Within the space of a few lines, it goes very high and goes very low. On the one hand, the vision is tremendously embracing, and even the person that the total shegets, that so to speak, he's not holding by anything, and he's not holding by anything. He seems to have just quit the whole ball game. He is also part of the fold. On the contrary. And but he goes very high because the one who already climbed the mountain, he insists that there are many more mountains to climb. And but of course, the kicker is that the ultimate paradoxicality and irony of it is that there's a reversal in the spiritual hierarchy. That he's pointing out that in a basic sense, the low shall be high and the high shall be low. That the one who's a Rosh Gomor, he's in a deep understanding of Yiddishkeit, he's in better shape. He's in a certain way, he stands in a better relationship to God, in a better relation with God than the man who is engaged in strenuous divine service and is knocking himself out to get it right and so on. He's knocking himself out to get it right. Now, this is a theme that I find repeated a number of times in Tzavois Rivosh, that a person has to see to it that